Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne, and this is the parable of the unjust steward. This is one parable of 54 parables that Jesus taught, and this parable will be on a playlist on my YouTube channel with the other 53 parables. By the end of today, hopefully, I'm the author of 57 Christian books on Amazon under the name of Matthew Robert Payne, also the author of 850 articles under the name of Matthew Robert Payne on eZine articles, EZINE articles.com, and the creator of 2,500 videos here on YouTube. I'm a teacher of the Word of God and also a prophet. So I hope you enjoy this. We'll just go to the text, and I'll go into the corner and become a little person, and we'll have a listen to what Jesus had to say in this parable. He also said to his disciples, there was a certain rich man who had a steward and had an accusation, and an accusation was brought to him that this man was wasting his goods. So he called him and said to him, what is this I hear about you? Give an account of your stewardship, for you can no longer be a steward. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my master is taking the stewardship away from me. I cannot dig. I'm afraid to beg. I've resolved what to do, that when I'm put out of stewardship, that they may receive me into their houses. So he called every one of his master's debtors to him, and he said to the first, how much do you owe my master? And he said, 100 measures of oil. So he said to him, take your bill and sit down quickly and write 50. Then he said to another, how much do you owe? So he said, 100 measures of wheat. He said to him, take your bill and write 80. So the master commended the unjust steward because he had dealt shrewdly. For the sons of the world are more shrewd in their generation than the sons of light. And I say to you, make friends for yourself with unrighteous mammon, that when you fail, they may receive you into everlasting home. He who is faithful in what is least is also faithful in much, and he who is unjust in what is least is unjust also in much. Therefore, if you've not been faithful in unrighteous mammon, who will commit to you the trust of true riches? And if you've not been faithful in what is another man's, who will you give what is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for he will hate one and love the other, or else be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. So here is another parable of Jesus, and we're to derive meaning from this. First of all, the man didn't come to the attention of the rich man by himself. He came to the attention of the rich man via someone else's testimony. So that's worth bearing note. Then the steward said, well, this is what I'll do. I'll let the people off how much they owe, and then one of them will take me into their own house and allow me to be a steward for them. So he was using his master's money to gain favor with other rich men, so that he could get a job, because he said he cannot dig and he's afraid to beg. So his only other choices was to work on a farm and dig holes all day and do hard manual work, or to beg. And so he said to himself, I can't do any of those two options, so I'll have to come up with a third option. So he used his master's money and gave people a discount in order to gain himself favor with the debtors. Andrew Womack teaches, and it's self-evident here. Andrew Womack teaches that your discipline with money is the least of the things that you need to do for the kingdom. He teaches that if you can't tithe, if you can't treat the Lord with respect with your money, well, then you can't be trusted with anything else in the kingdom. And that's a shame, because 95% of Christians don't tithe. 10% of their income, they don't properly tithe. So 95% of Christians really can't be trusted. So Jesus said, he who is faithful in what is least is also faithful in much, and who's unjust in what is least is also unjust in much. So Jesus said, make friends for yourself by unrighteous mammon. So Jesus is saying here, and you may not see it, but Andrew Womack says it, Jesus is saying you need to be faithful with your money, and he is faithful in little. What is least will be faithful in much. He who's unjust, he who's faithful in what is least is also faithful in much. And he's unjust in what is least is also unjust in much. So Jesus is saying here that being faithful in your money is the least of things, and you should be faithful with that. It's important that you recognize that Jesus wants you to be wholesome and right, and he can't trust you with the riches of the kingdom if he can't trust you with the money that you already have. So many people want to be prospered. So many people want to receive prosperity and have prosperity come to them, but they're not being faithful or responsible with their money right now. They're taking 99% of the money and giving the Lord 1% of the money. They're putting $5 in the offering plate when they earn $800 a week, and they're being unjust with their money. And Jesus says that shouldn't be the case. And if you're not trusted with, if you're not being trustworthy with a little bit of your money, you can't be trusted with a lot. And this is the parable that comes before. No servant can serve two masters, for either will hate one and love the other, or will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. There's a popular gospel being taught these days by prosperity teachers, and I could name names, but I'm not going to name names in this book. The Holy Spirit has told me never to name names again. But there's a popular gospel being taught by many people preaching the gospel that Jesus was wrong when he said you can't serve God and mammon. They teach that the more prosperous you are, the more luxury clothes and luxury cars and luxury items that you have, the more God has blessed you. And this is contrary to the gospel of Jesus. It's not wrong to have cars and clothes and things, but having luxury items is something that's pretty contrary to the gospel. The modern preacher, the modern prosperity preacher, preaches like I've said, you can serve God and mammon. They say, they don't say it directly, but they say indirectly that Jesus was wrong about that. You can actually serve both. And I must say that I'm overweight and I can't get regular clothes and I can't shop and get the same sort of clothes as other people. So I might not have the best of clothes like some people can have, the best brands and things like that. But I can tell you that even if I was slimmer, I wouldn't be dressing myself in track pants that cost $80 instead of track pants that cost $20. And I can see. I watched a TV show the other day, The Bachelorette, and she had some beautiful dresses that she was dressed in. I can see that it would be good to have financial money to dress my future wife in nice dresses and to have her look good. I can see the benefits of spending money on clothes, but money would never be my God, and so much of my money gets spent on the work of the kingdom. And there's going to be a lot of money spent on this book, probably $2,500 spent on producing this book. And I imagine you could buy quite a number of pieces of clothing for $2,500. And yet I choose to spend $2,500 on a book and make the book 99 cents. Essentially, I'm financing the kingdom with all of my money instead of financing myself. And I realize that in order for you to spend money or give money to the kingdom, you've got to be motivated to you got to be motivated to give money to the kingdom. So can you imagine producing one of my books? Have you read one of my books? Can you imagine giving $200 or $2,000 to me to produce a book and being counted by God as someone to get the heavenly reward for the work that that book does in the kingdom? One of the key points and one of the chief motivators to give money to the kingdom is to find something that turns you on, find something that you're really interested in, that you want to happen in the kingdom. So there's people who supply wind-up radio sets for people in different countries that are in remote villages. And when you take one of the wind-up radios, they can tune into this Christian station and listen to the gospel, and many of the people in the village become Christians. You can buy one of those wind-up radios for $60, and I've bought a few. Or there's missionaries in India who you can buy a push bike for $100 and they can ride that push bike hundreds of miles and witness to villages all over India. And he's very transport that he can ride the push bike. You've bought the transport, so you're partnering with him to save souls in India. And what's $100? That's a not. And so you've got to find a reason to spend your money. You've got to find something that turns you on, that makes you happy. And you can give a little bit to your church, but you could buy one of those bikes every week for a missionary. And the place where you can buy the push bike is Heaven's Family by David Servant, and you can look up the website Heaven's Family by David Servant and go and buy a push bike. So this parable says very clearly that the least to be the least, what does it say? He who is faithful in least is also faithful in much. Jesus is saying very clearly that your money and your finances is what is least. And you can't say that you're a faithful Christian without being faithful in your finances. So I hope that you were blessed by this. If you like this parable, press like. If you didn't like it, press the down thumbs. If you want to comment, please comment. If you want to join my channel, please subscribe. Press the bell and press the word all. I pray that God will bless you and be with you. God bless.